What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Big Juan Robles, aka Stan Nelson, and today we are doing a deck profile for a tournament deck that my brother Nick played at the Modesto tournament on, what was it, the 7th?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, on the 7th. So the last tournament that we played at, he took first, and enjoy.
Yeah, so a very quarantine version of deck profiles here. So this is a medical deck for the most part. And so we'll get into some of the cards later. So first is Utakata, basic card. Lets you shuffle out your deck. Hanari, decent opener. Lets you charge Chakra pretty early on. Not a childhood. I play her just to combo solo Sasuke, essentially, and to squat out later. Hotaro's, all these are 2 copies so far. Hotaro, Water Wind, decent effect. This Tamari, excellent tactician just for a stall if I need it. And that's pretty much all why she's in there. Her effect comes in pretty handy when she blocks Heal a Ninja, or when a Ninja Surged, which comes in handy as well. And your female and or medical ninjas get +1 entrance costs, and we'll talk about that a little later. 1 Database Kabuto. 1 Karn. Those are pretty self-explanatory cards, both medical. This Sakura, I use this one for a heal. And then if I have another water card out, I can make someone use their injured values, which can come in handy during a turn. I use 1 Reliance Sakura for the free heal, the draw at the end of the turn, and that little buff that she gives to lead ninjas. Tsunade Childhood. I'm using this currently. I switched this out with Chio quite often. Back and forth a lot, but her effect helped me kind of tech against a puppet deck. That helped out a lot. Also lets you use Cherry Blossom pretty early. Shizune, not exactly the one I want in the deck, but decent effect still, decent support stats, decent mental power. Actually, that one's the one with bad mental power, never mind. Cold-Headed Sasuke, not a female, not a medical ninja, but his effect comes in handy, and we'll talk about why. Give 1 damage to one of your team, or one of your ninjas in your team. Give 1 damage to a team with an Inkle or lower entrance cost. And we'll show why that's important later. Snotty Kimono. One of the better Snotties, get something back from your discard pile in your hand. Her first effect is pretty useless, but that second one is a lot better. And this is one of the ones with the best support in the game too. So for Jutsus, 2 Tsuchigomo. This helps me filter out pretty quick and draw a bunch of cards, especially when comboed. There's a good amount of combos in this deck because the list that we play is kind of weird. Regenerative Healing. What this does is, based on the amount of medical ninjas you have on the field, you can move them so many cards from your discard pile to the top of your deck. And so we'll get into that a little bit more. I run 3 reanimations. This needs to at least be semi-limited, if not completely limited. But 1 Energy Ninja, this was eroded to heal the target and draw a card. And then if you use with the Medical Ninja, move a card from your discard pile to your hand. So the more cards I have on the field that are injured, the more I can just constantly do this and make sure all my ninjas are completely healed at any given time. Not to mention being able to combo with Regenerative Healing pretty well to get anything back. Furious Punch, great card. I got 2 Cherry Blossom impacts. These are kind of just in there still because I really can't figure out a better card to use that is both a lower turn, affects more than 1 ninja, and yeah, it's still a good card. I got 2 vacuum blasts in here. So this is where the entrance cost starts to come into play for Eno's effect and some of our mission effects. This one says move a target's entrance cost is X or less. Move it to their opponent's hand. So the X is your user's entrance cost or less. So by comboing, let's say, Reliance Sakura with Eno, that's a 4, which means now she's able to use this card, and then combo that again with some other missions that we'll have. You can pretty much just start sending people's jutsus back without having to pay the X. So 2 chakra, move a card down off the field, pretty good. And the same goes for Hydro Ponto. Being able to hit this card and use it on turn 3 essentially is pretty helpful. 2 NEO for missions. Just basic draw card. Sakura's Confession, fantastic card. Always going to try to have Sakura on the field. And then one of the other parts of all these combos are Sakura's Desire. Discards up to 2 cards. Draw 3 if you discarded 1. Draw 2 if you discarded, or draw 4 if you discarded 2. And then while it's in your chakra, your Sakura gets +1 mental power and +1 entrance cost. So that combos with Sakura's to be able to get those upper entrance costs, and then Sakura's Decision. I only run one of these because it's only for like really niche situations. So hitting a Sakura with this in the chakra area or something, that's 4 cards you're drawing. Not to mention if you have Sakura Hinata out or Sakura Tsunade out, then you're hitting 5 to 8 cards, and that's a lot of cards to be able to draw. 2 secret books just for some mission hate right off the bat. 2 medical ninjas. This is usually limited to 1, and it needs to continue to be limited to 1. But since it's not, I almost put 3 in, but decided that might be a little too much. And then we're just running 1 Futaba for those extra heals, extra drops too. So with how all the cards kind of work together is you're constantly healing. If you have Futaba out, you're constantly drawing. You're drawing for reanimation. You're getting cards back from your discard pile to your hand. You're basically shuffling through and getting stuff where you need it to be with Utakata, and with the regenerative healing, you're constantly moving those cards to the top of your deck. And then with Tsuchigumo, you're going to be drawing into those cards. Not to mention with being able to heal and draw as well. So it basically just makes this big circle that's rather easy to pull off as long as you have at least 2 medical ninjas on the field, which isn't very hard. And as long as you have like, and I think Utakata is pretty important too. And usually you don't need them completely if you have a decent enough hand or something, but there's just this circle of constantly healing, constantly drawing, constantly getting those exact cards you want in your hand at all times. And then it's just this circle, and there's pretty much nothing you can do. And then by turn 4, you play Medical Ninja and you win. And that's how that works. So go through side deck here. Narrow Escape has actually won me the final match. This is a great counter, especially against a puppet deck when they're going to plan on using Conqueror Black Hand against you. Go ahead and get rid of that real quick. Chiyo's. This is kind of just in here. 1, it's an extra medical ninja. It's a puppet master. And if for whatever reason I feel like I'm not getting enough stuff back, I throw her in. Usually I run 1 of her instead of the Tsunade Childhood, but I kind of just threw Tsunade in instead. 2 comparative strengths. It's pretty self-explanatory. Ami. This is actually going to be switched out for Emmy. And then I've actually always run Unfading Affection just in case. This cannot be removed from play or moved to another team by the effects of your opponent's jutsu cards. This means can't become a standby, can't be removed from play, anything like that. That shuts down so many cards, especially like your Fear Buys, even my own Cherry Blossom Impact, stuff like that. It just shuts down way too many stuff. Way too much stuff. Really good card. Old card too. And then for my squads, I'm running 3 of the soccer Nada platoons or squads. That mental power 5, which means I can use Sakura's, was it Desire on there? I got 4 different soccer cards in here, I don't even know. So I can injure her, draw 5, or if I have Confession in my, or Decision in my chakra area, that even goes up more. And then I have more copies of this, but I just have 1 in the deck to be able to go in. I'm not running this as much because I'm usually done by turn 4, if not 5. So this is usually my another game changer for me. So yeah, that's the deck. It's not terribly broken, but it needs to be calmed down a little bit, and that involves the list we're using. So we'll see what happens with that. But this was extremely strong, and I had a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah, good deck. I believe he went undefeated.
Yep.
During the tournament, so
Oh, see you well.
that's always good. But if you guys like what you saw here today, leave a comment on the post. Definitely make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we'll be able to pump out more content in the coming weeks.
Since we got nothing else to do.
Yeah, since where we're from, we're currently on lockdown due to the COVID-19, and yeah. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, guys. And as always, for those of you keeping the Naruto CCG dream alive, we salute you.